Welcome, everybody. We are so pleased you are all here today. I'm Verna Barrientos, and I have the privilege of being your worship associate for today's UUCC service. We welcome all of you, those who have been here before and those who may be joining us for the first time. And welcome to those of you who are attending from any other UU congregations. All are welcome. Whether you find joy in the prospect of rain or otherwise, whether or not you believe in God or a higher source, hold to humanist or secular teachings, come from another religion, or if you've always been Unitarian Universalist, or if you consider yourself simply a seeker, you are all welcome here. The UU Coastside community welcomes people of all skin tones, the LGBTQ+ community, kids and mature folks, immature folks too, of course, and those with life challenges and those currently skating along without some list of challenges. We are all here working to overcome our society's systemic biases, and you specifically are most welcome here today. Today, David Marsland delivers a sermon entitled Loving Kindness. The theme of today's slideshow consists of nourishing waters, which is also sort of in the air today. Loving kindness is a powerful and nurturing source of all beings, for all beings. After the service today, we invite you to stay on Zoom for deeper conversations about today's sermon topic in our breakout rooms. And now our opening hymn this morning is the Metta Chant, an ancient Buddhist loving kindness practice. The word metta in Pali means positive energy and kindness toward others. Tom Devine has assembled a new recording for us, featuring the beautiful and soulful voices of the UUCC choir. Please join me in singing this healing mantra, the Metta Chant.
May I be safe, may I be well, may I know joy, may I be free. May you be safe, may you be well, may you know joy, may you be free. May they be safe, may they be well, may they know joy, may they be free. May we be safe, may we be well, may we know joy, may we be free. May all be safe, may all be well, may all know joy, may all be free.
I'm Dave Rakowski, and today I'm the other Dave. Good morning, I'm Dave Rakowski. I'm the other Dave this morning. I will now light the UUC chalice flame. Now please join us in reading these words by Richard S. Gilbert, entitled, May We Be Keepers of Thy Flame. O flaming chalice, symbol of a free faith, burn with the holy oil of helpfulness and service. Spread warmth and light and hope, warm hearts grown cold with indifference, light dark places with justice, rekindle hope and despair. May we bring fuel for thy fire of love. May the oil of loving kindness flow from us to thy leaping flame. May hands of service shelter thee, that no winds of hate may extinguish thy brightness. May thy light and warmth be eternal. May we be keepers of thy flame.
And now Tom has a reading for us.
Thank you, Verna. Today's reading is an excerpt from Discourses by Meher Baba. Meher Baba was a major spiritual teacher and mystic of the 20th century who had hundreds of thousands of followers, mostly from India, but also including prominent Western musicians and rock stars. His slogan, "Don't worry, be happy," inspired that song by Bobby McFerrin. The name Meher Baba, meaning compassionate father, was given to him by his first followers in 1921. From 1925 to the end of his life, Meher Baba remained silent, communicating by means of an alphabet board or by gesture. He spent long periods in seclusion, often fasting, but he would intersperse those periods with wide-ranging travels, public gatherings, and works of charity, including working with lepers, the poor, and the insane, whom he called God-intoxicated. Many of Meher Baba's discourses were collected by his followers, and today I'll be reading from one such discourse on why small gestures of kindness truly matter. Meher Baba says, "The scope of selfless service is not limited to great gestures, heroic acts, and huge donations to public institutions. They also serve who express their love in little things. A word that gives courage to a broken heart, or a smile that brings hope in the midst of gloom, has as much claim to be regarded as service as difficult sacrifices and heroic self-denials. A glance that wipes out bitterness from the heart is also service, although there may be no thought of service in it. When taken by themselves, all these things seem to be small, but life is made up of such small things. If these small things were ignored, life would be not only unbeautiful, but unbearable." And now, Verna will introduce our worship leader for today.
It is with great pleasure that I get to introduce my wonderful husband as our worship leader today, David Marsland. The title of his sermon today is Loving Kindness. David and I participate regularly in the UU Coastside community, both of us giving sermons during the pandemic. David's previous UUCC service was on climate action. David loves to bicycle. And with 4 sons and 3 granddaughters, he wants to do all he can to ensure that they live in a world full of loving kindness. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Verna. Good morning. Welcome. Our world calls out for loving kindness. We often sing the Metta Chant, and in fact, we just sang it, which is a loving kindness practice. Here comes our terrier to practice loving kindness in this room. In this service, we'll center on sharing a simple meditation practice of loving kindness. You'll have an opportunity to practice loving kindness yourself later in the service. Loving kindness towards ourselves, those we know and love, those we don't know, and those we don't love, even those whom we find it hard to love. Loving kindness for all beings. I've been practicing a form of loving kindness meditation for many years. And now my wife Verna and I practice loving kindness together. So simple, yet so powerful and transformative. One of my favorite spiritual leaders, Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, wrote that we all have the fear and the seeds of anger within us. We must learn not to water those seeds and instead nourish our positive qualities, those of compassion, understanding, and loving kindness. The practice of loving kindness can help bring peace into our hearts. We can send out ripples of loving kindness into the world through our friends and families, our communities, and ultimately our connection to all of life. We can send loving kindness to those facing strife and even those whose actions have caused strife. We can send loving kindness to the people of Ukraine and the people of Russia. Earlier this month, just the day before my son Joshua and his wife Christy were to be married, I received a surprising call. Christy and Joshua were on the phone, and Christy said, "We have a unique opportunity for you. Our officiant tested positive for COVID, and we would like to know if you could officiate our ceremony tomorrow." Wow, what an honor. I said yes right away. I went online, and 15 minutes later, I was an ordained minister in the Universal Life Church. I was now legally qualified to officiate marriages in the state of California. This, of course, was a huge relief for my son and his bride. And here they are on their wedding day just 2 weeks ago. You can see my son Joshua and his beautiful bride Christy. And there's our two granddaughters, Luna and Zara. They were the flower girls. Such a wonderful celebration, and I was so honored to have a part in it. So I had one day to script an entire wedding ceremony. There was a draft that a ceremony that a Buddhist monk was going to lead. It was a good start, but there were a lot of missing pieces. So that very afternoon, we walked through the wedding rehearsal. All went fairly smoothly. Fortunately, I'd been working on this sermon on loving kindness. I decided to lead an interactive loving kindness practice early in the ceremony. What an incredible feeling leading over 100 people, family and friends, in the practice of loving kindness. I'll talk about how this went in the ceremony and the general practice of loving kindness. Then in the last half of today's service, you'll have a chance to follow along and participate. Here's how it went. We set as intention as a community to support Joshua and Christy in loving kindness. We centered ourselves first to bring our full presence. Everyone was welcome to participate and join in by repeating each line after me. May I be full of loving kindness. May I be well in body, mind, and spirit. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be joyful. Now we focused our attention on the beautiful couple before us and said, may Joshua and Christy be full of loving kindness. Finally, we widened our intentions to send loving kindness to all beings. This includes our family and friends now, those that have come before, and those who will carry on. May all beings be full of loving kindness. May Joshua and Christy's marriage be full of loving kindness. Loving kindness can be a form of meditation. As much as I love just focusing on breathing, I often find myself practicing loving kindness while meditating. I find it helpful to combine breathing and loving kindness. Here's a version of a simple loving kindness practice combined with breathing. I've done this thousands of times now. Adjust this camera. Just get comfortable. Place your hands over your root chakra at the base of your spine. Breathe and say, may I be full of loving kindness. Now move to your core chakra. Breathe and say, may I be well in body, mind, and spirit. With your hands at your heart chakra, breathe and say, may I be peaceful and at ease. And finally, to the crown chakra, breathe and say, may I be joyful. Now focus on another, a loved one or a friend, and replace I with you. I like to start with my amazing wife, Verna. Verna, may you be full of loving kindness. May you be well in body, mind, and spirit. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be joyful. Now you can repeat for your family or friends or other circles. For each circle, you can end with, May we be full of loving kindness. I often like to think of sitting around my family dinner table many years ago with my late wife, Susan, and our 4 sons. Susan actually knitted this scarf, so even though she passed on almost 8 years ago, I wore this during the wedding ceremony to bring her presents in. So I visualize our family sitting around our dinner table back then, and I wish them each loving kindness in turn. For those who have passed on from this world, like Susan, I simply say, may you be well in spirit, since her body and mind have passed on from this earth. I also like to go back to my childhood dinner table and go around the table sending loving kindness to mom and dad, my sisters, my brother, and their families. Verna and I often say, may our 3 granddaughters be full of loving kindness. May they be well in body, mind, and spirit. Finally, expand your awareness to our beautiful universe. May all beings be full of loving kindness. Now let us practice loving kindness together. At this point, you can join in and speak along at home. Don't worry, your microphone should have been muted. And the words will appear on the screen in a moment. So please join in, follow along with me. May I be full of loving kindness. May I be well in body, mind, and spirit. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be joyful. May you be full of loving kindness. May you be well in body, mind, and spirit. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be joyful. May they be full of loving kindness. May they be well in body, mind, and spirit. May they be peaceful and at ease. May they be joyful. May we be full of loving kindness. May we be well in body, mind, and spirit. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be joyful. And may all beings be full of loving kindness. May all beings be well in body, mind, and spirit. May all beings be peaceful and at ease, and may all beings be joyful. Thank you for following along. May the practice of loving kindness bring you peace and help you share that peace. There are many variations on loving kindness. I hope you find a practice that works for you. Next, we'll hear a beautiful song of loving kindness by soprano Jess Hudeman. Only the last line is different from what we just practiced. Feel free to sing along. You should still be muted. Thank you.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well.
Thank you, David, for your inspiring sermon today. And for all of you who, by being here today, expressing your faith in us, in the Unitarian Universalist Coastside community, as a community. UUCC is entirely dependent on the contributions of its members. So perhaps as a small act of loving kindness, why not choose to donate today, a gift from us to us? Please follow the instructions for donations in the order of service. And please feel free to offer something to UUCC, either by check or online. The instructions for giving are both in the order of service and also in the chats. Before we extinguish our chalice and close with a song, a few announcements. As always, we thank UU San Mateo for their administrative and professional support. And now Dave will lead us in extinguishing the chalice.
We now extinguish our candle flame. Please join in reading these words by Elizabeth Selly-Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thanks, Dave. And now our closing hymn this morning is Meditation on Breathing, which is number 1009 in the UU Teal hymnal and is sung today by Linda Grace Frost, Shauna Pickett Gordon, and Tom Devine, with Shauna on piano. So please rise in body and our spirit and add your voice, or just listen to this beautiful hymn, Meditation on Breathing.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Thank you to everyone who contributed to this wonderful, enlightening service today. Thank you, David, for sharing some invaluable teachings on how we can practice more loving kindness. We want to acknowledge our third Sunday production team, our music director, Tom Devine, our chalice lighter, Dave Rakowski, Zoom engineer, Bill Hevlin, video editor, Bruce Raffnell, and artistic director, Noreen Cooper Hevlin. And our musicians. Thank you, Vera Vandershoek, for your lovely guitar pieces played during gathering, and our wonderful UUCC choir with Linda Grace, Laurel, Tom, Bruce, Barbara, and Bill. And a huge thanks to all of you for participating in this timely service. David offers the following questions for conversation in our breakout rooms immediately following the service. How does it feel to practice loving kindness? Would you try this practice again? Do you have similar practices you'd like to share? Breakout rooms serve as a safe place to talk openly and honestly. Please stay on and join in these breakout rooms if you would like. What is said here stays here. And of course, thoughts and concepts we learn are inspired by, these can most definitely be shared. Please be thoughtful about the time so that anyone who wishes to speak has the opportunity to do so. Have a safe and joyful day.